So boom. Today I got y'all with men's obsession and dying in battle. Men's obsession, dying in battle. I type locked in.
The Tale of the Bridge Berserker is one of those stories that feels more like a climax to a movie than an actual historical event. But according to Wikipedia,
I looked at other sources. Wikipedia is just easier to read. It was just one of the many pivotal battles between England, led by King Harold II, against the invading Norwegian Vikings, led by King Harold III.
there are two things about this story that make me want to believe this was someone's creative writing session back in 1060. I don't know when this happened. Number one, the fact they fought on a bridge called Stamford Bridge that led to a town also called Stamford Bridge. Number two, according to documents, the Vikings had no idea that such a large English army was at their doorstep. Most of them were completely drunk and asleep in the
Bro, I think like men have a lot of obsession with things. Like random ass things, bro.
middle of the day. So when an entire English army shows up, they overwhelmingly get the advantage in battle. But what halted the English army in their tracks was that on that narrow wooden bridge, one lone warrior, his name unrecorded in history, raised his axe and stood defiant against 15,000 English warriors.
Yo, David and Goliath type shit, bro.
On granting his king and his people the time they desperately needed. And the only other information we know about this guy is that he was labeled a berserker by his enemies for his barbaric way of fighting and the fact that he just wouldn't go down.
Yo, bro, is it like fiction or non-fiction, bro? Because, like, bro, I feel like how would motherfuckers even come with that conclusion that they have fought in that exact same bridge, bro? Like, how does someone deem that information, gang?
He made Stamford Bridge a bloodbath, and he managed to take down 40 English soldiers all by himself before someone wised up and stabbed him with a spear from below the bridge.
Yo, muscle man type shit, bro. Imagine if it was his homie, bro. Damn, muscle man, bro.
Oh, that's so lame. His story is a story of a man who reached the peak of masculinity, sacrificing himself in combat, and is the kind of man I fantasize in my head as I'm on my way to work. Pretend I'm.
Yo, I feel like the peak of masculinity is like a good physique, bro. Build like a good temple for your Holy Spirit, bro.
Driving, okay? I forgot to get actual footage of me driving when I was going to work, so. Yeah.
This scenario my adult brain whipped up comes from the part of my mind that the internet has deemed to coin as my masculine urge. Initially, it was a term people used to ironically make fun of hyper-masculine dumb boy things, like throwing a rock to break a sheet of ice, or throwing trash into a bin from really far away, or to wear a long overcoat and wander through the streets during a cold winter night. Or to dig a really big hole. This funny little trend, however, gets kind of interesting when men across the world agree on more serious masculine urges, to a pretty noticeable degree, like the urge to seclude yourself from society to focus on self-improvement, being able to perform a task at the highest level due to grueling, meticulous training, and of course being able to pull off an extraordinary heroic feat that saves lives. Everywhere I look, if you go down the rabbit hole enough, there are guys all agreeing that being extremely capable at something that benefits the lives of others.
Yo, last year, gang, I heard like my teacher talking about something, bro, about like on TikTok. It I was supposedly going viral, bro. Bro, it was like, how many times do men think of the Roman Empire, bro? Surprisingly, it was a lot, bro. But then again, my teacher, thinks everything goes viral, bro. No hate to her, bro.
Is a fantasy of theirs. And the apex of this idea is the act of self-sacrifice in combat. One of man's biggest fantasies.
Bro, but it would be so dope though. Bro, like, just sacrificing yourself, bro, would be dope. But then again, bro, I'm too, scared, bro. Wouldn't wanna die.
Now, I am not a neuroscientist, but I am certain that this tickle at the back of my brain when I watch this kind of stuff, it's real, right?
It's real. I'm not just concussed. It's a real thing that you guys experience too.
I want to preface that this isn't all men. We are not a symbiotic hive mind that think and act the same. But a lot of us are pretty damn close. Search up any YouTube video that's titled something like POV, this is your final stand. You'll feel like you just walked into a room full of shonen protagonists. It's kind of cringe, but I love it. And audio when it's time to lock in. This is your villain arc, or the all-reliable, the indomitable human spirit. It's clear from the comments of these videos that people listen to this stuff to get a good pump for a workout, or when they need motivation to get back on the metaphoric horse.
Nah, bro, I think, bro, that, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I used to do the exact same thing this guy's talking about, bro. Bro, in 2024, bro, I used to, motivate myself by using those audios, bro. Bro, it's some hard stuff, bro. Bro.
Life. The reason why I bring this up in the context of self-sacrifice is these one-liners are often taken from scenes where the character unlocks their hidden potential. They cast aside every other desire except for overcoming the obstacle in front of them. And whether they die or not, they're throwing everything they humanly can at you. Cause just like every RPG, you can still hit a crit at 1 HP. This then usually follows with a superhuman feat and or going out in a blaze of glory. And a lot of guys resonate with this kind of stuff. Me included. I, along with these Reddit people, fantasize of a world where we hone in solely on the enemy and for a moment become mankind's most dangerous fighter. It's like that one Kanye West song, you know? It's provocative. Gets the people going. Guy, imagine being someone that powerful. Imagine the satisfaction of being that unit that just doesn't go down. And even if you do die, you're known as the warrior that took down 200 people to kill or something. Such a fantasy would only...
Not gonna lie, bro, it would be mad tough. It would.
Seen in the movies. Except when it actually did happen in feudal Japan. Saito Musashibo Benkei was a Japanese warrior monk who defended the bridge to his lord's castle to his dying breath. It was said that he sliced and diced over 300 soldiers with his Nekiba in order to buy time for his master to honorably commit seppuku. That's 299 times someone has had to watch their guy get eviscerated, and the guy that killed him just stares at you like, next. By number 300 or so, the enemy wised up and was like, oh yeah, screw this, and started taking pot shots at him from a distance. And he still tanks them. After riddling him with so many arrows, one brave soldier actually gets close enough to look at him, only to realize that he was already dead. He was already gone multiple arrows ago, and he died standing upright with his glaive in his hand, propping himself up. This is literally Whitebeard. The thing is, this guy was basically already an anime character before all this. He's a weapons expert who kept his Masakari, his Kumade, his Tetsubo, and a bunch of other weapons on him at all times. He roamed Japan claiming
Bro, he's showing me all these pictures. Still don't know what any of that is, bro.
of over 999 different samurai he had defeated, and he would have gotten to number 1000 if it wasn't for that damn Yoshitsune who beat him in combat. But it was that same Yoshitsune that became his best buddy for life and was the same guy he defended on that bridge. Now, I'm going to refrain from speaking about this any longer because I can feel that masculine tingle in my head and it's happening again and I don't know how to stop it. That epic feeling of someone's life in your hands and the odds of survival being so close to ironically fills you up with adrenaline to keep on going. At least, I think it does. The closest thing I ever got to Mortal Kombat was when I was clutching a victory royale with the boys. Benkei, Whitebeard, All Might, Moomin Rider, future Gohan. It might be a little cringe, but I identify with these people. I identify with the virtue of self-sacrifice because it shows that you are willing to risk your life for something that is bigger than just your
Bro, yo, you know something that I think is an adrenaline rush for men, bro? It's like boxing or fighting, like shit like that, bro. Bro, motherfuckers like my friends, bro, be trying to slap box me and shit, bro.
to stay alive. Well, why is it self-sacrifice specifically that I like? That same courageous virtue could definitely be seen with moms raising children or a child taking care of their parents in their old age. The short answer is that would be a terrible action movie to watch. A long answer, we're gonna have to enter a pretty dark and malevolent place to get it. A place full of toxic COD lobbies and men hating on any woman that isn't built like an over-sexualized white 90s character. A place I never truly understood, but for the sake of the video, and I love you guys, we're gonna open this Pandora's box to make sense of a few things. I'm talking about the world of me. Y'all like the fit? Despite the cat ears, this is the most masculine thing I could come up with. My masculine outfit is in the wash until Tuesday. Trust me, okay? But the lumberjack outfit, I thought exuded masculinity. Alright, you blue-haired betas.
Bro wanted to dress up like a lumberjack, that kind of, bro.
God, my eyes. Class is in session. I'm not doing that again. Despite my machismo look, we're not here to talk about sports or cars or women. We're here to talk about gender theory. Gender theory. Now look, I decided to get a degree in something that society actually values and pays decently well, so I am not exactly an expert in this whole debacle, but I am trying my best here. What you are witnessing now is a live autopsy of a guy analyzing his past self and why he had these kind of red pill adjacent ideas about masculinity. I'm just hoping we can all learn from it, okay? I'm not exactly prideful or happy. I used to think this way, but hey, we thank God for progress, okay? So if I slip up and say something out of pocket, that's why. Gender euphoria is simply defined as the satisfaction someone feels when their gendered experience aligns with their gendered identity. Basically, it feels good to be a boy and do boy stuff because you're taught this is what boys like. We all basically know this, but there are certain traits as a man that feel good to perform.
Bro, yo, like, in my school, bro, there's like a student choice day. Bro, there was like, I love doing debates and shit, bro. But there was like, there's a list, right? And like, and one graph it said like, debate LGBTQ, and like I didn't really felt like doing that, bro, Cause of the whole criticism and shit, bro.
Ideals of what a man is supposed to be. These are some of them now. Oh, okay. Yeah. Some of these got updated in the last patch, so I don't know why they're still there. Traits like self-sufficiency, dominance, being powerful and muscular. These are the things that a guy who falls under this sense of what it means to be a man values, in a sense, because in their head that is what's necessary in order to perform as a man. And I want to put heavy emphasis on the term perform, because it actually is a performance. There are definitely times as a man where I don't want to be all these things, but I feel like I gotta, hence performing. It's not a natural thing. In fact, the male body might compel us to cry or be vulnerable at certain times, but as a man, we don't cry, right? So we thug it out, we thug it out. And then we die at 60. Despite the discourse online that certain men say that men don't care about feelings and they're not important to us, I think they're very much are. Look at these red pillars when you encroach on their identity as a man, what they think it means to be a man, and then you'll see yourself if feelings are definitely non-important for a man or never are expressed properly. Authenticity, defined by Charles Taylor, is the creation and construction as well as discovery of oneself. To be authentic is to perform these traits you think aligns with you in order to become a man. So this is what they hammer in. This is the appeal for a lot of self-help advice for men online. There's a road you're supposed to follow, and if you follow it, you'll come out the other end a man. An authentic man. Traditional masculinity will tell you that you are not just born a man, but you need to become one as well. This is a big reason why a lot of male-dominated media usually have this stoic powerhouse of a man, moving as a force of nature, pummeling enemies into submission, and then we as men all go, yeah, that guy has it all figured out. I need to be like him. So researching this video, I discovered a pretty spooky place on Reddit. There was this post about asking these...
I know. Bro, I feel like Reddit, bro, is a low-key a dangerous place, bro. Same with Twitter, bro.
From war, why they like war so much. And despite how unpleasant and traumatic so many other soldiers say it is, why do they specifically almost like obsess over it and dream about it like it's the glory days? Here are some of my favorite quotes and responses to that question. War stops time and intensifies the experience to the point of horrific ecstasy. War brings infinite foreign experiences and a lifetime's worth of believable. There's just something about knowing you won't make it that helps you fight so much harder. And we all, and men in particular, still want and need a narrative.
Yeah, hell no, bro. Bro, I think war is bad no matter what, bro. Motherfuckers be like governors and shit, bro. Like president, dictator, etc. Just be sending out like soldiers to kill themselves, bro. I don't think it's fair. They should be low-key like George Washington and actually join in the wars.
Keyboard away, this guy is yapping too much. Guy, did you just hear how metal that sounded? We might discuss it with our friends and make these long intellectual video essays as to why we like said character, but I'll speak just for me at least. A lot of these characters that fall into this stereotypical man archetype, at the end of the day it comes down to if I think they're cool or not, and if I aspire to be a certain aspect of them. So far, I don't think I've said anything controversial or necessarily wrong. I've pointed out that traditional masculinity teaches you to take responsibility of your life and kind of pull up your socks in a way. I don't think anybody can really have fault in that. The bad part is, these people are not real. No human man is able of reaching these peak levels of traditional masculinity just like in the media. And
yeah, buddy, big gap, bro, big gap. They're not real, twin.
Nor should you want to. We are not these men only have 4 moods animals that a lot of people online say we are. That all we need in life is muscles, money, and someone to boss around, and then we're just content with life. No. Sure, some of this stuff might make us feel good in a certain way, but take Kratos for example. Do you think Kratos likes ice cream? Do you think Kratos eats ice cream regularly? If you're trying to be like Kratos, then are you now going to go cold turkey on ice cream because he said to? He doesn't do it? You want to be like Kratos, right? So stop looking at this guy and saying, I want to be just like him. You like aspects of him. You can't be him. It's not possible. So then that begs the question, what happens when a man who identifies with this image of being a man can't fulfill these roles or these ideals and feels inauthentic? Well, for one, they become bitter to themselves and everyone around them. And if they can't live out this version of being a man, then they'll die being one. I love The Walking Dead. It's one of those games that as years go by, it comes under...
Rowdy, I'm actually so tired. And like, we're halfway, bro. I'm trying to finish it, bro.
A lot of criticism for lacking continuity between its seasons and game mechanics that did not age well. And as a video essayist who cares a lot about media literacy, I ignore all these critiques because I like this game a lot. The reason why I bring this game up is because I want to talk about a perfect case of a real traditional man's man not being able to perform his duties and turning very sour in the end. Season 4 of The Walking Dead is in the perspective of this new guy named Javi, a Mexican ex-baseball player in his 20s who, like everyone else, has had to learn to survive the zombie apocalypse day by day. The prologue of the season shows Javi having an older brother named David, who at the very least had a pretty good life set up for himself as opposed to his irresponsible little brother. David's got 2 great children, a staff sergeant role in the US States Army, and a loving wife who loves him very, very much. At least much more than his first wife. He has everything a guy like him thinks he needs to be a man. But the problem is, he is a real piece of work. He constantly abuses his wife, blows up on his little brother over the smallest of arguments, and you can get this feeling that even though he's retired from the front lines, he misses the whole life or death rush of warfare and would trade that over his boring dad life in a heartbeat.
My job sucks. Kate and I fight like cats and dogs. I belong back in the army. I had a purpose there.
Some stuff happens when the zombies break out and David...
Yo, Loki's zoned out. But... Yo, you think people actually do that? Like, join the army for the adrenaline?
Separated from his family, leaving Javi to be the main protector for years. And later in the season, when he finally does reconnect with them, David kind of just pushes Javi to the side, picks up his family, and disregards the fact Javi was ever there? Huh? David thinks he can just slot right back into being a father and a husband, but Kate, his wife? She is distraught that they found each other because David goes back to being this bossy, abusive husband. And also she realizes that she might have married...
Yo, I'm actually so tired, bro.
Wrong brother. Gabe, while happy to see his dad, can see the kind of person he turns into when he's not happy, and it scares him. Mariana, his daughter, is in video game heaven at this point. But if she was alive, I'm sure she would say the same thing, that although they were stuck on the road, clinging for survival, she'd much rather prefer Javi being her carer over her gun-crazed, power-hungry dad. You can tell that this shift in allegiance to Javi messes with David's head, like a lot. This now causes him to indirectly punish Javi even more and keep an even tighter grip on Gabe and Kate. Like, it's really uncomfortable seeing a man trying to forcefully make his traditional values work rather than just having a conversation. It's like a baby jamming a circle into a triangle-shaped hole thinking something's going to change eventually. And on top of all that, it's kind of ironic he keeps telling Javi to stop running away from family responsibilities. But at the same time, he's also kind of like, yeah, I kind of want to go back to shooting stuff, so do you mind being the dad now? David annoys me because I don't think he's a bad guy. He does genuinely care about Javi and the people under his care, but he keeps letting his principles and his ideals get in the way of genuine growth.
A soldier isn't a husband or a father. A soldier is a soldier. Nothing else.
After seeing his brother, who he thought initially was useless, actually turn into more of a leader and a father figure to his family than he ever was, it is such an attack on his identity that he makes the most emotion-filled, petty decisions at every turn in the game. So it makes sense that he is ready to do these hell-bent Call of Duty kill Makarov suicide missions, rather than wake up and smell the roses that maybe what he thinks is a good man is wrong. He thinks there's only one way to being a man, and he's going to stick to it no matter the cost. I feel as though David is a representation of a broader topic on the plight of men in the modern age. He's like an extreme of what it looks like to allow the shackles of masculinity and, to be honest, just being a bad person can do to you. For hundreds of years, men were seen as the only people who could provide for a family in ways like finance and security. And in current year, a lot of women are gapping men in terms of education, leading to women making more than men, men feeling lesser than, yada yada. Look, there's like 100 videos on the plight of men on YouTube, so go watch those. But essentially, the game mode to life has changed. And a lot of guys, young and old, are stuck trying to make sense of it with old software. And one of the few places a lot of us feel affirmed in our beliefs is through these hyper masculine fantasies. So it makes sense that we attach ourselves to characters in fiction where acting out their masculine urge to protect is still considered super important to that said society. Whether it's guys with a sword or a space gun or a space sword gun, it's all the same sentiment of, wow, I'd like to die in a blaze of glory and feel important. Again, this is cool, this is badass, this is really inspiring, but just like everything else, taking this stuff to the extreme is where it becomes harmful. On a smaller scale, fantasizing about this version of masculinity can make you unsatisfied with a regular life and daydream about a world where you're the hero. But on a grander scale, it can cause you to put faith in something that will ultimately destroy you. Spoilers ahead for chapter 154 of Vinland Saga. They're not major spoilers, I swear. It's about a random Viking dying, but this probably is one of the most important chapters of the entire story. For context, Vinland Saga is a story about an ex-Viking named Thorfinn on a road of redemption after realizing the world of death and vengeance is no longer what he wants to put out into the world. The story delves into heavy philosophical themes on whether humans can truly live in peace, what it means to have an enemy at all, and is violence always the first answer when defending yourself or loved ones. The funny thing is, it's gonna be pretty tough looking for peace in a world full of mankind's most famous people for the kill now, grape women later mentality. The chapter begins in the middle of
Yo, I'ma have to check that manga out, bro. Not gonna lie, bro. I zoned out again, bro. I'm dozing off, gang. We're almost done now.
bloodbath of a battle. Heads are being lopped off like long swords, and axes are ripping out intestines. And the main focus of the chapter is this one Viking as he falls in battle after taking several arrows to the body. Laying on the floor, he thinks about how he did a good job in stalling the enemy before they could close their gates. Now his allies can flood the fortress and continue their siege. He's satisfied that he's fought till his last ounce of strength, and as the vision gets blurry, he eagerly awaits to be sent to Valhalla, a realm only for Vikings who died valiantly in deathly combat go to. But nothing happens. There are no heavens opening up to him, there are no Valkyries to carry him to the sky. It's dark and cold, and he can't feel anything. And for once in his life, he fears death, because he realizes the belief of salvation through combat he was taught was a complete lie. This persona or identity of being this machine of killing did not serve him in the slightest other than give him a purpose to kill time. There's nothing at the end of all this fighting but black. And as his thoughts slow down, we get a panel of him shedding a single tear as he's seen as just another dead body on the battlefront as the war continues. It's pretty depressing stuff. But what I'm getting at is, being so deep-rooted in identity that has so many holes isn't a great way to live. Traditional masculinity can be more of a detriment rather than a benefit, and this glamorous final stand we love to fantasize about may need to be re-evaluated on whether the sentiment comes from an honest perspective in our life. This obsession of dying in battle and being this alpha chat could allude to a misguided funnel of energy, and maybe the issue isn't why do guys want to rush into guaranteed death in fighting, and maybe it's rather, why do guys only see themselves valuable when they go give up their lives?
Whew. Hey, yeah, we are in the hot seat now, boys.
I feel like if I even got the most hyper-masculine redneck to look at this meme, and he had to choose just one and be honest on which side he prefer, I think he'd say, every man has two fantasies, all odds are against lads, we shall... It's okay, you don't have to act strong anymore. Yeah, I think I prefer the anime girl. Now, this is not me saying the solution for man's troubles is a woman's compassion, but it's a matter of putting our value as a man in the wrong places. The system's rigged because it is almost impossible to derive a satisfactory amount of value from getting money because there is someone online way more rich than you. You can't solely get a satisfactory amount of value from working out because there is always someone who has a better physique than you. In Christianity, we call this idolatry. It might not mean that you are bowing down and worshipping this thing, but you solely getting your value from these masculine traits means that they are your god in a sense. And I don't know about you, but there are days where it feels good to get a productive.
I don't know about that, bro. Like, you can admire someone from a distance, but I don't think they're like thinking in their head, oh, they're a god. Maybe back then.
Day of working out and grinding out a side hustle, but there are also days when I don't hit my goals and I feel like garbage. And if I'm being real, all that other stuff people tell me to put my value in, they just don't hit the same. I don't get the same gender euphoria making videos or doing arts and crafts. I just don't. I might like watching the Barbie movie, but I don't feel manly doing it. Yes, I don't think we should fantasize about self-sacrifice as much as we do, but I have to admit that being in service to others is a pretty good feeling.
So what do we do about this?
If there is a wave of dudes dreaming of dying in battle in order to feel manly and valuable, then I'd hypothesize reevaluating what we see as valuable might give us some clarity on how to move forward. Maybe the idea that we must prove ourselves as men is inherently broken and not in our best interest? Maybe we can feel valuable and help people just like traditional values say, alive rather than dead? Huh? I don't have a definitive solution, but there was this article I read from this dude called Prester John titled On the Masculine Urge to Die in a Suicidal Charge. And in the article, he mentions this film called The Last Samurai as a reference to shed some light on the whole situation. The story is about this washed-up army officer named Nathan Algren, played by Tom Cruise. He's mentally plagued by his participation in the cruel genocide of the American Indian Wars, and now spends his days being part of a traveling circus, where his main act is fetishizing that same war of Western expansion that gives him nightmares. That is until the Imperial Japanese government seek him out directly for a job, to teach their soldiers how to fight with modern military weapons in order to fight a rebel army of samurai. Algren agrees to the offer, but the training is cut short as the rebel samurai leader Katsumoto attacks their base. The samurai make short work of these inexperienced soldiers as they don't even know how to reload a gun, resulting in half the soldiers being dead and Katsumoto's men kidnapping Algren and forcing him to live among them in the Japanese countryside during the winter. Despite their grievances, Katsumoto orders the whole village to treat him as an esteemed guest rather than a prisoner of war. And through talking to Katsumoto, Algren finds out that he's not even that bad of a guy. and he has no issue giving up power to the government, but he hates the trajectory that Japan is heading towards. Think about why a samurai would hate a machine gun, and you get the reason why he fights back so hard. Both Algren and Katsumoto share their life and death battles, and two philosophies bubble up to the surface. Algren despises this whole suicidal charge mentality a lot of soldiers he knew died from. He hated the fact that just because they were orders from a higher up, he had to continue to fight even though they were outnumbered. He was one of the few survivors of 200 men who fought against an Indian army of 2,000. And when Katsumoto hears the story of Algren being forced to fight this losing battle, he goes, huh, based. This whole Japanese dying with honor.
Loki, this is what I think was going on through his mind. I think that he maybe, I think it'll play out like this. I think we might win like the Mexican War for Cinco de Mayo. The Mexican War versus the French. They were outnumbered and the Mexicans still won. That's maybe his mindset, bro.
Dick really rubs Algren the wrong way initially. But at the very least, he really starts to warm up to the integrity and the discipline he sees in the traditional Japanese way of living. So when Katsumoto decides to go to battle with the Imperial Army again, Algren joins the battle, this time on the side of the rebels. And now you have this epic clash between old customs and new, the gun versus the blade, honor versus progress. The samurai obviously have the moral high ground here, with more determination, tactics, and skills than the enemy. So when they fight...
Yo, hold on, didn't something like this happen in Ghost of Yotei, or am I tripping?
Tactics and skills than the enemy. So when they fight... all that doesn't even matter, as it becomes a massacre. To call it a battle is being nice. No matter how skilled you are with a sword and a horse, you are not beating a Gatling gun. The Imperial soldiers have had a year to train.
Yo, this is the peak definition of don't bring a knife to a gunfight, my G. Gang, whatever.
With the help of modern weapons, they slaughter the samurai. That day, modern values won. The curtains finally closed on the age of the Bushido, with even Katsumoto preferring to die by his own blade rather than surviving in a world where his values are no longer the norm. Defeated once again, Algren is brought to the young Emperor Meiji. And he's not really a bad guy either. He saw Japan being left behind in modern advancements, and had to make the tough call to get rid of certain traditions in order to make sure Japan can still exist years from now. There could be other reasons as to why he was okay with being westernized, but at least through Katsumoto's efforts, the young emperor sees that he must not completely forget who they are as a people, even if they do decide to become modernized. The movie ends with Meiji saying how much he respected Katsumoto, the last samurai, and he asks Algren how Katsumoto died. And Algren refuses to answer that question, and instead replies with, "I will tell you how he lived." Too many of us intertwine our traditional masculine values to our identity. The sentiment of how badass it would be to die in battle is cool on the surface, but kinda sad after you peel back the layers on what the desire it's rooted in. This is something I am trying to understand myself, so I am in the same boat as anyone who resonated with whatever I just said today. The longing for the good old days is only as popular as it is because there is a lot of guys that feel powerless, valueless, and inauthentic as a man because the reality of becoming this unrealistic vessel of Chad energy can't be achieved. After all, if all of us knew that we actually have internal value and we don't have to prove ourselves with money, women, or how well you can swing a sword in order to feel valued, we might put the likes of these people out of business. There's no benefit into rushing into whatever suicidal charge you might be going through in your personal life. I would suggest understanding that we have these desires to be authentic, socially engineered or not, but the key is to not let it consume or constrict you. Once you stop thinking that you can prove your worth in every breath you take, once you realize that living for a cause can be 10 times more badass than dying for one, there's so much more interesting, big brain expanding interests and lifestyles that this human experience can bring. So reiterating the question, how do we as men scratch that itch of wanting to feel?
Bro, like, I thought, like, for a second there, bro, that would be so dope. Kind of, I wouldn't want to do it, but it would be dope to, like, die, bleed out on that hill he showed.
In our heads. A purpose that can look at a future Gohan or a Katsumoto and say that it's badass, but not an ideal to live by. Because at the end of the day, this world is even more messed up than most of the movies and stories we love. You can definitely scratch that itch of being a hero right now. Trust me, dying for a cause isn't going to be enough. Because what we need is those that are willing to live for one as well.
Yo, my camera cut out, but on the other note, I'm out.